Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. Last day before the Super Bowl, we got a jam-packed show. We're going to talk Super Bowl, of course. We're going to talk some college basketball and NBA. Gianni's going to get us started with the Steam report. Teddy is going to jump in NBA heavy. We're going to go over the trades, which ones he liked, which ones he didn't like. And then Marco's going to jump in and do some college basketball for us and his Super Bowl sauce/food of the week. But let's bring in my co-host for today. It's none other than Steve Merril. Steve, welcome. Happy Friday.
Buffalo chicken dip. That's my favorite. Never
Is
gets
it really?
old. I don't know. When you said Super Bowl food, the first thing that popped in my mind, there's a lot that I like, but I do like a good buffalo chicken dip because it's tasty, but you get a lot of protein, and it's like, I don't know, it's a meal. It can be a meal, so I like it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Absolutely. Wings.
Well, yeah, there we go. That's chicken.
Slow baked wings, heavily seasoned, good sauces.
It's a good chat question. We got to get the chat going on this throughout the show and in the comments below.
That's a great one.
Favorite Super Bowl side dish, appetizer, or least favorite? I did that for Thanksgiving. I do that in my Thanksgiving video. We always get some good reply. Favorite or least favorite? I don't really have a least favorite. I like everything. So,
you know the assignment, chat. Favorite, least favorite Super Bowl food. So
you can do it.
All right. We hit yesterday's WTF LFG. So, Steve, it is all up to you, my friend. I'm going to give you my play of the day, and you have to tell me WTF if you think it's going to lose, LFG if you think it's going to win. A little bit obscure, but the obscure ones have been working today. Brook Lopez, over 9.5 points. Zubac is gone. He's the starting center, and 6 games he's played without Zubac in the lineup. He's gotten over 27 minutes. He's averaged 10.8 points, and there is no better matchup against centers. The Kings, they give up 26 points per game to centers. Sabonis is listed as questionable. They've got a back-to-back. He may not play tonight. No matter what, it's a terrible game, and these role players have to absorb some of these stats. Harden is gone. Zubac is gone. That's a lot of points that some of these guys from the Clippers are going to have to play. So Brook Lopez, 9.5 points late tonight. Steve, I ask you, WTF or LFG?
LFG, man. First of all, I'm never fading the prop expert, Andy Lang, on a prop. This is not my neck of the woods, although I do a lot with this with the NBA playoffs when I do my videos. And one thing I like to – 2 things I look at, Andy. I look at minutes played, and I like to look at field goal attempts, right? Because that's what it comes down to. The more shots, the more chance you have to score. And there's additional reasons he'll play more tonight, like you just mentioned. But just looking at his line of work here over the past few weeks since late January, last 3 games, 21 minutes, 20 minutes or more in the last 3. He'd only done that 1 in like the previous 6. 8 points or more in 2 of the last 3. And then look at his field goal attempts. Over in January, he took like 6-7 shots at most in a game. He had 7, 11, and 6 the last 3 games. So more minutes, more field goal attempts, and there's more reason for him to play tonight. I like it. Definitely not fading that one. LFG.
Right. LFG, let's go. Colin, beer.
We got to have 2 categories, something that actually counts as a meal, maybe. Like I said, that's why I like buffalo chicken dip. But hey, beer for many people is a meal. It's very filling.
Seth runs his own beef jerky and sausage company, and I'm here to tell you it is some of the best. It's the best beef jerky I've ever had. And he sent me samples of his jalapeno cheddar, and it might be the best sausage.
Jalapeno sausage. I think meant beef jerky. Oh, wow, that sounds fun. Yeah,
yeah. So Seth doesn't screw around when it comes to wings equals football. Yeah, queso with sausage.
I like queso with sausage. That's a good call. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Of course, Lino's bringing Sicilian square pizza. Absolutely. I would expect nothing less than that.
This might have been a bad idea, Andy Lang. We got another like 40-some minutes to go at lunchtime here.
Yeah, and now I'm hungry. But let's bring in Gianni, though. Steve, I'll let you take it from here. Gianni, happy Friday. How are you, sir?
Don't mute yourself, Gianni. There he is. He's here. Thought he was cussing off screen for a second. I saw the lips move and didn't hear anything, Gianni. You got me nervous.
No, sorry. I was just saying, I just released another Super Bowl prop this morning. Staying real selective. Like, honestly, we bet probably 36, 37 props, but I've given about 10 or 11 of those to subscribers. I give the ones that I agree with more and the ones that I don't expect to see any buyback, meaning they're not set up for middles or really manipulation and more legit. Multiple groups got down on them. And actually today's prop, I'll tell you now, it was because it was in the bot. So I'm sure most of the groups are betting it right now. And that's the Gatorade color.
Wow.
And we took plus 210 on, what was it? Was it yellow, green? That one, the one that you could get the yellow and the green at plus 210.
That's awesome, Gianni, because one of the things I do every year when I'm watching the championship games, and I have it all DVR'd in case I missed it, and I'm sure you do it, Andy, too, is I go back and I try to see what color they dump. And obviously in that Denver game, they did not dump the fluids, which is probably a smart move when it was like freezing cold temperatures. And then I did not see them dump it either in the Seattle game, if I recall. So like I did not get much info on that. But I would think there's a color that they both have been using most of the season, and somebody knows that. So
yeah, well, they did release what Pete Carroll did last time with Seattle. They did say like what Belichick with New England, and they were other colors.
Interesting.
But yeah, this one, like I said, came in this morning, and that was the other than the national anthem prop, which we bet that one over. We bet over 122.5 and 123.5. Seconds in the national anthem. And then as far as after the game, we bet the Gatorade colors today, yellow, lime, or green at plus 210, plus 200, yellow, lime, or green.
Do you know what favorite? Was there one that was lower than that? Was clear lower than that?
Yeah. And I think orange might have been.
Orange. Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's good stuff because people always ask. I had a non-sports betting friend text me yesterday, asked where you could find all those props. I was going to send them the Westgate booklet that we have, and I realized they wouldn't be in there because Nevada doesn't have those props.
No, any of the props that someone would have the outcome prior, they don't allow for.
Correct. Yeah, and there's been a lot of controversy, obviously.
Someone on the team definitely knows what Gatorade. So
well, and I think the best thing with the national anthem is if you ever get into that rehearsal, right? Because they do rehearse it at some point, and that's where there's been some finagling in the years past. But
yes, that's the information that I usually have banked on. Where someone gets that and you see it move, the market moves right away, gets so juiced up immediately, and then you get a little bit of buyback. But this year, I think the reasoning is that it's a big ensemble he's bringing. Like he's bringing a choir with him. And
that'll drag it out a little bit as the
thought that's the reasoning. Exactly. Like you're bringing a choir to help sing this song. Like they're probably going to drag it out a little bit. At least that's what I've been hearing behind the scenes.
And 122, 123, for those that are not good at math, I hope most people watching the show are good at math. You should be doing this, but that would be like 60 seconds. That's 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 3.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. What else are you seeing as we head into Super Bowl weekend here? I mean, Joe Ranieri and I just did Best Betting Show Ever. By the way, that's available this afternoon here on the channel. Arthur DeCesar, we took up extra of his time. He went over a lot of stuff the Westgate's seen. What's in your world, the other side of the counter? What are you looking at?
What's sticking out to me a lot is this one prop that a lot of bettors are talking about, and that's Kenneth Walker III. Everybody's betting the same bets with him, and here's what they're betting. Okay, they're betting Kenneth Walker receiving yards over. But they're betting Kenneth Walker rushing yards under and Kenneth Walker longest rush under. So let me repeat that again. The sharp prop that is getting the most wise guy money is Kenneth Walker receiving yards and Kenneth Walker rushing yards. Now they're betting the opposite. They're betting the receiving yards over and they're betting the rushing yards under and the longest rush under. Now, the rushing moves got respect by the market. The over in receiving yards initially got respect at 20.5. It went to 20.5 over as high as minus 175. Then went to 21.5. Then went to 22.5, juiced to the over. Since then, we've been seeing it come back, and you could still get 20.5 today. That is very surprising to me because I would think that even the recreational bettors bet that one over. Like I can see them betting the Walker rush prop under because of the defense for New England and how difficult it is to run against that team. But the fact that the wise guys are betting all three of those props and the over in receiving yards isn't getting the respect, even though I'm seeing a lot of recreational bettors piggybacking it, is surprising. I'm interested to see how that one turns out.
Obviously the way the game plays out too, you got two good pressure defenses. You can get more receptions, smaller pass plays, not as much yardage or longer plays, and then maybe that's less running plays for the same reason. And we say this all the time. The way you think the game is going to play out is how you're going to handicap the prop market as well. You have a preferred side or total, preferred way the game's going to play out, high scoring, low scoring, so it all plays a part. Gianni, I want to ask you this because I asked Arthur DeCiser this. I'm going to do my Fade the Public video this afternoon for this weekend. I think obviously Seattle's looking like the public, so I wouldn't say it's a public play like it would be regular season, but the public seems to be leaning towards the Seahawks. My general non-betting friends here on the East Coast too, it's kind of interesting. They've all been like Seattle. I've been hearing that all week, and that is not something I factor into my public data, but it is like an intrinsic factor, if that makes any sense. And total, I feel there's a little bit of love to the under more than you maybe would see from the public in general because they're two good defenses. And I'll ask you this, Andy, too, later in the show, maybe when we talk, is I'm trying to come up with some public info for the props, though. And like Art and I have talked about, plus money safety, plus money overtime, like the big payoff lottery ticket ones. And by the way, I pulled all that up. It's like a 5% chance game goes to overtime, 7% chance a game has a safety, actually. I was surprised it was higher to have a safety. That's like minus 1350. I think the Westgate has minus 1400 plus 800. The Prez said last week that it's a great bet to play the no because that's the square side. It's really not a great bet either way because it's right in the middle probably. But Gianni, I'll ask you, what is something that's like a square public prop bet this year or every year that I can tell the viewers to kind of stay away from, other than will there be a safety, will there be an overtime? Those are two that jump out to me.
Yeah, they always bet that there'll be a safety, there'll be an overtime. They bet the yes on the defensive touchdown. They like that one. Special teams or defensive touchdown, yes, usually gets money. But I think that might be juiced. The other prompt that I see get a lot of the public money on the yeses, again, they like the big plus money. So they'll go that there'll be a missed extra point. Ooh. That one, the overtime bet that there'll be an overtime, that the game will land exactly 3. They'll bet that one. Those are some of the square props. Because they want that, they're seeing that plus money, but they're never getting the true plus money that you should be getting. Just like, with the touchdown props, that's a popular one. And most of the players the odds just get so ridiculous when it gets down to the Super Bowl because they know what the bettors want to bet. They want to bet the over. They want to bet that these wild, crazy, improbable things actually do happen in a Super Bowl, and they usually don't because it's just like any other game. It's a 60-minute football game, so it's not like because it's a Super Bowl those crazier things are going to happen. If they don't happen on a normal Sunday afternoon game, they're probably not going to happen on a Super Bowl. They're the exact same two teams. They have the same game plans. They approach the game the same way they have over the entire season. The only difference is that you don't get to play again next week, so you may throw everything at them. But that doesn't mean you're going to miss an extra point or the game's going to go into overtime because of that or props like those. Again, I like to be on the side of the contrarian, and I have no problem laying heavy juice. If I'm confident, then I'm still getting the best of it. I'll lay minus 400 comfortably if I think the true odds are 85%. I don't care. I'll sell something to lay minus 400 if I'm sure it should be 85, 90%, implied probability. And that's the opposite of how recreational bettors approach it. They look at value as plus money. They see value as dogs. They don't see it as the difference between the price and true implied win probability. Like trying to explain to a casual bettor that there could be value on a minus 1,200 favorite is very hard to do. They'll look at you like you're nuts. But that's why the hold is so high on Super Bowls, because recreational bettors and novice bettors, unsophisticated bettors, no disrespect. But I do this every day. This is my job. I do this 7 days a week, 365 for 30 plus years. So I respect this market. I know how difficult it is to beat. I don't look at it as gambling. But on Sunday, 99% of people betting this game are approaching it like they're just gambling. And if you're gambling, you don't care about the odds being against you. You're hoping to get lucky. You're hoping to be the product of good luck on Sunday, that you are lucky. And with Char, we look at it different. What's the price? What should the real line be? Is there a difference? I'm betting it. If there's not, on to the next one. And again, we talk about it every Super Bowl, but that's the difference. kind of like the Kentucky Derby. Everyone's talking about that Derby race and betting that Derby race, but the values in the races leading up to
the undercard,
kinda
yeah.
like the props, exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of like the props with our Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll point out on that too, just because plus 800 is a terrible bet doesn't mean minus 1400 is a good bet, because it's a 600-cent line.
Well said.
Normally you're dealing with a 20-cent line. Minus 110 is 20 cents. 600, it's a $6 line. So yeah, the house edge, and there's just no edge either way.
It's so huge. You
Right.
just can't beat it.
It's very hard to overcome a 600-cent line in general, I would say.
Great
Gianni, on the way out, anything you see here on Friday or even Saturday? I know college hoops has been great. And by the way, every Monday, because I was on right after you on Monday, I saw that you're going to be giving out your updated rankings for college hoops. And I know
week.
Andy and Dan were excited about that. That's pretty cool stuff.
3 to 5 undervalued or overvalued teams. Let me give you some of the college basketball and NBA that's on the Steam sheet. I'll just name off a couple of the signs for you. 531 Knicks at a pick'em. 533 Miami at +7. This one's good. 538 Minnesota. The buy order's at -9. Now they took 11.5, 11. They dummied it up overnight for nickel limits. Miami gets the 9. That one's going to get blasted. Also, the over 236 in New Orleans and Miami, and then throw in 541 Clippers -3. College basketball, 871 Loyola Chicago plus the 11.5 plus the 11. 873 Brown plus the 15.5. 876 VCU -7. 887 Belmont -3. So that's some of the earlier sharp stuff. I do have the Steam sheet up. There's a 4% in college basketball. I think that the best bet in the Steam sheets hit every single day this week, I'm pretty sure. So we're on a really good run. Again, the power ratings for college basketball and the NBA are getting tighter and tighter as we're getting more and more data. So you're seeing the results are starting to pay off for subscribers up over the last 3 days, last 7 days, last 30 days, and sitting fourth in profit for 2026. So for those that partnered up for me this year, just keep grinding. Follow the money management plan we have. We'll do just fine in 2026. And again, Steam Room is Sunday. We're going to do an hour, talk about all the sides, totals, props, get you ready for that Super Bowl. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you have plenty of time to hit those Super Bowl parties, get all your bets in.
Yeah, Gianni, I was going to ask you about that on the way out, right, Andy? That's for long-term only and NFL subscribers only, right, on Sunday?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're going to wrap up the great 2025-26 NFL season and prepare the game plan moving forward for the rest of 2026, because it'll be on Saturdays moving forward. We'll have a lot of live bets, a lot of the college basketball stuff that comes in, MMA. So after this Sunday, we'll be moving to Saturday for that Steam Room for subscribers. So make sure you join us. And best of luck to you this weekend, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, real quick, Gianni, real quick, we got a question from Arias. Can you explain why Super Bowl prop betting is so much higher volume for syndicates in the Super Bowl rather than other games?
Liquidity.
There's a lot more options.
Yeah, options and liquidity, meaning you could get a lot more down. The limits are higher, and the amount of properties providing the prop are a lot greater. And it's a lot more, like you touched on, a lot more options. And because each property is trying to get creative, they'll originate some of their own props for the Super Bowl. And a lot of times those lines are inefficient because they're not copying them off somebody else. And those get hit a lot. So the opportunities are just so huge for the Super Bowl. And remember, you could place 30, 40 plus bets in one day. To do that usually takes a lot of different matchups. But to be able to fire that many plus EV bets on one game when the dust settles, again, they should find themselves profitable. That's where the Super Bowl prop betting is so advantageous.
Awesome. Gianni the Greek, WagerTalk.com, and you'll see him on the Steam Room this weekend. Not too late. You can join WT.buzz/VR. Get you there quicker. Thanks, Gianni. Good luck this weekend, my man.
All right, picking up wings from Buffalo's. That's a local place here in Indianapolis, Steve. Yeah, Buffalo's is going to be. Let's just say they're going to be busy on Super Bowl.
They're going to get buffaloed. They're going to be buffaloed.
Yeah, there's there's two wing places that are legendary here in the city, and I can't even guess how many wings they go through for pre-orders on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's going to be a busy day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, to the point about I was sitting here laughing to hear Gianni talking about like, well, there's a lot more options, a lot more liquidity. Yeah, they're not giving out Gatorade props for a regular season game between like the Dolphins and your Commanders, Steve. Not too many props.
Yeah, my Commanders will not have Gatorade props anytime soon. Although they were in the championship last year, and they didn't even have a Gatorade prop for that one. And as I said, I love the Eagles. It was one of the best plays I saw all season, and they never would have brought Redskins back had they won that game. So there's still a chance because they don't look like they're going to be any good for a couple years now. Andy, have you ever messed with the Gatorade props or the national anthem props? And if you have, like, okay, so you haven't.
Yeah.
If you have, what did you base it on? Was what I was going to ask you.
Okay, so the single greatest Super Bowl prop bet I ever made, and unfortunately I couldn't get a lot down on it, was when it was here in Indianapolis, and I was able to interact with the local committee because of some business things, and there was a prop. Will there be a flyover? Well, we have a roof over the stadium, and it's winter, like this, so the roof wasn't going to be open. So I was able to ask the committee, "Hey, what's the flyover this year?" And they was like, "There's no flyover." I was like, "Thank you."
Well, the trade-off was they thought you were an idiot, but you made some money off it, so it was worth it.
Yes.
It's like for betting purposes, will there be a flyover? You just say like, "What's the flyover?" Oh, silly me! Yeah, it's wintertime.
And there was another one. What color will the mic screen? What color will the mic screen be for the national anthem? And different microphones use different colors of screens, so I was able to look up what microphone manufacturer this artist
because they probably use their own mic. They probably prefer their mic still, right? Yeah.
So they bring their own mics, and so I knew it. And the Super Bowl was outside, and it was windy, and they put a freaking windscreen over it, and they voided it. They voided it. They voided you. Like,
I thought you were going to say you lost. Well, at least you didn't lose. Though.
I was livid. I was like, no, you can see it, the color of the screen. It's right there. Like, no. They put a wind screen up. Yeah, it was just
could have gotten like 100 to 1 on windscreen if they'd given that option. Then you would have lost the bets. It could have been worse.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
But this all serious point though. This is why the Westgate and the other Vegas books cannot offer these props because there's a lot of ambiguity, whatever, Could have had a flyover, by the way. It would not have shocked me if they'd done a flyover and they showed it like on the TV still. So you never know. None of these things are sure things, right? I mean, even then when you have information like that, things can change, like a windscreen.
Yes.
Crazy.
So, good specials that are up. And honestly, Steve, this is our weekend starts today. It's a massive run here. We've got 4% NBA best bet that is up. 4% rugby goes off tomorrow. We have 4% UFC best bets, 5% Super Bowl props. Best way, I've been talking about it all week. Buy 10 days for the price of 7. That is on the specials page. It's good for every handicapper. It works really well for what myself and my team have. You save $69. It's really a no-brainer. Like 5% play is $35, and you're getting multiple 4% plays from me. So that is the best way to take advantage of my plays that are up. So yeah, it is a big weekend, Steve. I could not be more excited. Coming off a really nice 3-1 day yesterday, 2-0 in NBA. So feeling good about the momentum going into the weekend, and appreciate everybody that's jumped on board so far. Never too late to jump on board, but today is the most important day, so we can lock in those 4% best bets. All right, let's bring in Teddy. Teddy, happy NBA trade week. Busy week in the NBA, and that's where I want to get started. I messaged you yesterday. Let's just talk NBA trades here. You got some winners, you got some losers, so I'll just let you get going here. What's your big wins?
So let's start with this, because we have to talk conceptually about the NBA trading deadline. And I'm going to tell you how much I adjusted my power ratings for each team. And the answer is 0. Okay. 0. All right. And there wasn't a single trade deadline move that said, oh, well, you better adjust your rating right now for this. It's, this team's way better. 0. Okay. They're all the same teams as they were 2 days ago. All right. But what we do now, we're really quick on the trigger to see as teams get better in terms of adjusting power rating numbers. Happy to adjust, and after a normal regular season game, I'm not adjusting anything over more than a half a point, unless the buddy gets hurt. Right now, for the next week, I might adjust the team 2 points after a game if I see something that I didn't expect, or oh, wow, they're really good, or wow, they're really bad. But the majority of the stuff we saw from the trade deadline, in terms of the biggest names, Trae Young and Anthony Davis got moved to Washington. All right. Indiana, a buyer at the trade deadline. You have teams at Utah, a buyer at the trade deadline. You have these teams that are sitting at or near last place in their respective conferences, and they're buying, which speaks to next year. Where Utah wants to be in contention for the playoffs next year. The first number you see for the Washington Wizards for season wins this offseason, bet it over now. They're interested in making the playoff. As soon as you see it, bet it over. The Wizards are saying we're interested in making the playoffs next year. They haven't been in the playoffs in like a half a decade. Utah's in the same story. Indiana, obviously, this is the Halliburton year where there's no that they knew coming in that there were going to be struggles. So now they're saying, all right, this is their throwaway year, but look, next year we're going to be right back in contention. And meanwhile, the contenders didn't do anything. OKC is like, yeah, whatever. We're going to trade away some draft picks because we have so many of them, and they pick up McCain. And McCain might be a decent pickup for them. They're so injury riddled right now; it's hard to even say what that team looks like. But OKC is certainly a team. As the teams that are that expected to compete for championships, you expect to make win now. Boston, okay, Boston trades Simons for Vukovic. People are like, that's a neutral deal. No, Simons really helped them. Vukovic, they had a Vukovic on the roster. What was that about? Getting under the second apron of the salary cap. So Boston got worse for the rest of this year. And I know Vukovic's names we know. He's 35 years old, where Simon's been hiding in Portland for his whole career, so people don't know him as well. But Simons has been instant offense off the bench. Boston is a team that I'm like, okay, we're going to watch the Celtics and be prepared to downgrade them a point if need be. So I'm just going on and on here. If you want more pointed questions, I'll answer anything you got. But there's lots of smoke, but not that much fire.
I really liked the Minnesota picking up the guard from Chicago, Asunmu. That was a big need for them. It was one of those where, like, is it going to move the needle? Maybe not. But he is electric, and he's just so much better than what they currently have. That was one of my favorite moves for this season.
Well, they're talking about the corpse of Mike Conley, and I heard someone was talking about the corpse of Brook Lopez before. He was playing for that was you, right? They were talking about that Brook Lopez over. Brook Lopez is old, man. Mike Conley is old. So now they get someone off the bench who can help. But you say, how much does a guy like Dosunmu really affect your point spread? The answer is nothing. Maybe it makes you like Minnesota a little bit better. Maybe it makes the rotation a little bit tighter. But when you talk about how is this affecting the point spread, it doesn't affect the point spread at all.
Yeah. Next year is going to be really interesting. The Pacers are loading up. It's my Pacers, so I got to ask. Seemed like a haul, but we've just never had a center like Zubac, and you pair him with Halliburton and Pascal Siakam. I was looking hard at the Pacers win total under. It's 21.5 right now. They have 13 wins right now. This trade, they keep the pick if it's the first, second, third, or fourth next year. Like, this is a Pacers team where I think Pascal Siakam may have a calf injury coming up real soon. They need to lose every possible game, and it's going to be tough because this coach loves winning. Did you like what they did for next year?
So if you're going to make that move, why don't you just re-sign Miles Turner to begin with? You know what I mean? And then you have Turner and Mathurin on the roster. Zubac's the wrong age. I don't want my 7-footers as they approach 30 and older. I want my 7-footers that are nice and young. Like Boston got Keita, as their 7-footer, and no. These let's make sure we get an old guy that we have to mix in minutes with. So, I mean, do I like what Indiana did to be competitive? Sure. There's a chance that Indiana might be right back to where they were. Indiana and Boston both might be right back to where they were to start next season, but that's called a chance. It's not it's no lock.
True. Yeah, Zubac is way less money than Miles Turner. I guess that's a good thing, and I think Miles Turner just run his course here. We knew what we had in Miles Turner, and there was a low ceiling. So just
but Miles Turner didn't cost you anything to re-sign in terms of Mathurin. Matherin's you're going to miss him. let alone the picks.
I'm not going to miss him. I'm not going to miss him, but I know what you're saying. All right, let's get into some games here. Let's talk this Heat Celtics game. It says that Vucevic may be starting tonight. That's kind of a weird shakeup here. I don't know if I believe that totally, but books have Boston as the big favorite here, -6.5, over under 229.5. How do you break this game down?
So, Boston has Vucevic on the roster already, and Luke Garza. They're the same guy. They really are. And now they're saying, all right, we're going to have Garza off the bench and have a bigger low post presence to start the game and play two bigs and have a third guy coming off the bench. So, I mean, it could help Boston in that sense of now they're going to be a little bit bigger. Although Vucevic quotes, I know some limitations I have. I'm aware of them, which is kind of hilarious. Because it's true, but Joe Mazzulla, it helped us on multiple fronts in terms of playing two bigs, but they haven't done much this year. Helped us defensively, helped us offensively with matchup recognition. We're able to be in our matchups because of that. I thought those guys did a great job. I thought Luke and Nimi were great. Nimi was kind of the best version of him. So they're hoping that same scenario happens in Vujicic's first game in Boston. I'm not sure that I agree with that. Miami is coming off a pretty bad loss. They were in Atlanta on Tuesday. And again, they've had 2 days off since then. So a little bit of extra rest because of Boston playing third game in 4 nights. But on Tuesday night, they didn't have Andrew Wiggins, who's been really impactful for that team. They didn't have Norm Powell, and obviously been playing without Tyler Hero. He's been out, for a dozen games now or something since the last time he came in. But they didn't have any of their 3 best scorers. And it showed. Atlanta did whatever they wanted in that ballgame and beat them by a dozen. Now, Hero didn't make this trip. I don't look like he's not going to play. It doesn't look like till after the All-Star break. But Wiggins and Powell both likely to be back for Miami tonight, and those are 2 impact players. I think more than the marketplace might say. Now, we don't have that for sure, but that's what it looks like. We've seen a struggle for Miami in their 3-point defense. They gave up 21 3-pointers against Atlanta. They gave up 20 against Chicago in their previous game. So Boston is the type of team that in theory should be able to take advantage of that. That being said, all the talk out of Miami is we better play better from 3-point defense. Jaime Jaquez, quote, we couldn't get it done defensively. They lit us up from 3, something that's been a theme for us the last couple of losses. So there's obviously some urgency for Miami when it comes to that 3-point defense. But the biggest issue here for me in terms of how you're going to approach this game, Boston's third game in 4 nights. They're off satisfying wins and back-to-backs at Dallas, at Houston, All-Star break coming. This is not a max intensity spot for the home team. Miami's coming off a bad loss. Their last 6 losses, they're 6-0 straight up, 6-0 against the spread the following game. So Miami's bet on off a loss all the way. And they should be getting not 1, but 2 of their 3 best players back from an injury absence. So put it all together with a team I like to take points with. Let's look at Miami. Plus the points in Boston tonight. Expect a battle, not a blowout.
That's what was the quote from Vucevic? I know I have some limitations.
Yeah.
Mobility, defense, intensity, playoff success. But other than that,
I know some of the limitations I have. I'm aware of them. Yeah. Which, again, as you get older, that happens. You start to recognize the limitations you have, and you become aware of them. Yes. As opposed
Shout
to
out
saying,
to
I can do
Vucevic,
it.
self-awareness month. That's a great quote. Super Bowl, any last thoughts here before we get to the big game here, Teddy? Has anything changed for you? Seen any lines move that you like?
I mean, that's a very broad question, Andy. So I want to talk for a minute. Let me talk briefly about props conceptually. I thought Gianni said something really smart earlier, and I want to the props that I'm looking for, the general strategy for props for me. I want over or under. I want yes or no. I want A or B. That's where you're going to find -110s and the moral equivalent thereof, where there's only 2 options. What I don't want is first player to get a touchdown, MVP, these ones where there's 40 different options. okay, where you have to pick the needle in the haystack, and then you're not getting true value for even if you pick it right. So I really avoid here's 10 different choices, pick one of them. Here's 40 different choices, pick one of them, and try to focus on the yes, no, over, under, A or B. So conceptually, that's what I look for. The second concept when it comes to Super Bowl betting that I want to talk about with props is the concept of betting a little to win a lot. And this is your classic recreational bettor mistake. They're betting the yes safety. They're betting the yes overtime. They're betting the yes made 2-point conversion. They're betting the yes octopus. Now, I'm not saying that it's sharp to be betting the no's on these because the gap between yes and no is significant. All right. And if it is one of those years where the safety hits or overtime comes through or whatever, losing 1,000 to win $1, or winning 100, they can mess up your whole day. So I'm not saying the other side is a good bet, but the safety, the overtime, the 2-point conversion, the octopus, those are bad bets, guys. Keep that money in your pocket. Even if it cashes and you laugh at me on Monday, one of them comes through, you're like, oh, I'd have won that. Great. You'd have lost it somewhere else anyway. So it's one of those deals where I avoid those bets like the plague, and I would encourage others to avoid them as well.
All right. We're going to do sell me here in a bit. Steve, this is your first sell me. So since Dan isn't here, by the way, shout out to Dan closing on his house. Big day for him and his wife. Very exciting. So normally what happens, Dan picks a game and then assigns a side. And Steve, normally Dan tries to pick a gross, disgusting game with two bad teams. The Clippers and Kings is just an automatic on this one today. So Steve, you get to assign the side here. So you get to tell Teddy if he has to defend the Kings and I have to defend the Clippers, or you get to pick. And we give away a 3-day pass. So after the show, comment below, give us your WagerTalk username, and if you agree with Teddy or Andy, and whoever wins, we'll pick one of you guys, and you'll win a free 3-day pass. So we're going with this absolutely disgusting game tonight. I mean, the starting lineups are an abomination here. So Steve, assign the teams. Who gets the Kings? Who gets the Clippers?
Obviously I want to give Teddy the tougher one to defend, but I think it's pretty much net neutral here at 50-50. We've seen hardly any line movement on this. It's been basically 3.5 across the board all day. I'll give you what's probably the better team because I'm making it, but I'll give you the Clippers because I was going to give you the uglier team, the Kings, but then you'll say, I'll take the points with the ugly team. So I'll give you the Clippers. Teddy gets the Clippers, Andy gets the Kings.
All right, okay. Teddy, the floor is yours. You get the Clippers. What say you? So
these two teams played once this year, 131 to 190. Oh, sorry, 131 to 90. It was a 41-point LA victory. That seems to happen a lot to Sacramento of late. And of course, when you talk about a team that's, when you grade out Sacramento's personnel, you see a team, they remind me of Chicago. All right. They should probably be power rated 5 points higher than I have them right now. All right. They are the epitome of mediocre. The type of team they're supposed to win 35, 36, 38 games. Instead, they're sitting with the worst record in the league. Why? Because they don't give a shit. All right. They don't. All right. And if I had Doug Christie coaching me, I probably wouldn't give a shit either. Because Doug Christie, when it comes to let's make adjustments, let's massage our players. No. Everyone hated him when he was a player. Everyone hates him as a coach. This team is a chemistry nightmare, and there's not a lot of, here's a chance maybe someone got out of town at the trade deadline. No, Sacramento didn't trade anyone at the trade deadline. So the Clippers, hey, they're still fighting. They're still trying. Sacramento, they gave up 2 months ago. Clips, they're laying points here for a reason. And frankly, my party number says this line's short. My number's 5. I'm seeing only 3.5 out here. That's how bad Sacramento is.
Andy? Damn, I gave him the wrong side, Andy. I gave him the wrong side. That was too easy.
No, I had better case than the Kings.
Good. That makes me feel better.
Are you sure the Clippers care at this point right now? Looks like Garland's not going to be playing. Jackson Matherin not playing. I will read you the starting lineup. We talked about Brook Lopez, John Collins. How motivated is Kawhi to put on a good show now? Starting at guard, Chris Dunn. Yes, he puts the Dunn in Dunn. He is done. And listen, they got Kobe. not that Kobe Sanders. If you don't know Kobe Sanders, very limited role. He's starting here. And the Clippers, how have they done in trade week with morale at an all-time low? Well, they just gave up 124 and 128 points to Cleveland and Philadelphia. This is a Clippers team that traded away to try and just rebuild for next year, get rid of the Harden thing. I don't think Kawhi cares about this at all. Getting points in this type of game is the only way to look at it. Listen, they've only lost the last couple games by 4. Yeah, it was to Memphis and Washington. But still, they were pretty close to covering in that one. They do have a little bit of chemistry. They've been playing with each other. They know each other's styles well. This Clippers team is a dumpster fire until Garland maybe gives them a spark. But until then, it's a fade, and they are one of the worst defensive teams in the last 4 games. Give me all those 3.5 points with the Sacramento Kings. All right. Good sell me segment. I kind of like the Kings in that one. But yes, to the surprise of no one, no sharp money has come in on this game.
So Andy, Chris Dunn, the 5th overall draft pick in the first round in 2016.
Yeah, he's got game.
Providence. Yeah, Providence. I couldn't remember where he played, so I looked at Providence. Providence Friar.
Played for Minnesota.
Teddy, what do you have up for everyone for this weekend?
So obviously it's we know what's going on in the Super Bowl. I have a 12-play prop report for $29 right now for the clients. It's something we've worked on all last week. We worked on all weekend, and it's up and available right now. But don't buy. This is not a weekend to buy plays. Get that Super Bowl All Access pass, the Weekend Warrior All Access, $49. Gets you everything Saturday, everything Sunday, all plays. I got the side in play for the Super Bowl. I got a lean for the total. I got a dozen props. The NBA is rolling right now. 75% run. I'm on a 70% run with for the year in 2026 with my totals. I do have a top total tonight, but don't buy plays. Buy packages. The Weekend Warrior is a good deal right now. The 7 days for the price of 10 is a good deal right now. The Super Bowl All Access is a good deal right now if you want to get on board. So check out the homepage, www.buzz.com/TC.
Teddy covers. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good luck this weekend. Steve, it's a monster weekend. Tell everyone what you have up.
Yes, I do have my Super Bowl 60 best bet locked and loaded right now. We put that up in advance. You can get the best number, shop around, the lines keep moving. And I do think there's some nice value there. It's a strong 4% client best bet for Super Bowl 60. Number 1 in the NFL over the past year plus now in profit, including this season. Also, college basketball best bet for tonight on Friday. And my top NBA opinion for tonight is free. Don't even have to get it. My top NBA opinion is free with analysis on my page right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker, wt.buzz/SM. And I will have that deep dive Super Bowl 60 video ready later this evening. And it might be for insiders only on Friday night. Don't forget, it's just $2.99 to be an insider. And then that'll be available to everybody on Saturday if you want to wait. Side, total, player props, all from a fade the public perspective. And also my college basketball top 25 video for Saturday will be up later this evening as well. So basketball and football content free here on Wager Talk TV. Make sure you click subscribe and you click that bell for an instant alert. Thumbs up, like, and positive comments below, including your favorite Super Bowl appetizer, because we do read the comments and we reply back here on Wager Talk TV.
Lino has a great question. Who won last week's challenge? Glad you asked. The winner for the 3-day pass is Brian C. Kelleher. Correctly predicted this one. So, Brian, you're the big winner. You get a 3-day pass. We'll put that in your Wager Talk account. And what a great weekend to get a 3-day pass.
Yeah, man. Timed that well.
Right before Super Bowl.
Boom.
Actually, you know what? Since that game is tonight, when you guys put the comment in the comment section after the show is over for tonight's game, whoever wins tonight will get your 3-day pass started tomorrow. That way you get Saturday and Sunday for the Super Bowl. So not going to wait till Monday after the Super Bowl. Here's your free 3-day pass. Sorry, we missed you on Sunday. So,
and by the way, if they don't win, Andy, Teddy pointed out, I didn't realize that was on the page. That Weekend Warrior Saturday and Sunday for 49 is all sports, basketball, football for me, basketball, football, every sport in the universe for you. Rugby, I heard you say. My goodness. Yeah. Not a bad time to try the 2-day for 49. 1 day is 39. Get a 2-day for 49 Saturday and Sunday. No promo codes needed. It's on everyone's page. And get multiple guys. Get Andy Lang. Get Steve Merril. We're going to have totally different sports. Almost no crossover whatsoever. That's the way to do it.
No, we're not going to have opposite sides on cricket next week, are we, Steve?
We're going to have no sides. At least from one side is going to have no sides.
All right. Before Marco comes in, we have to talk about the scandal that is rocking the skiing long jump, and I do want Marco to hear this. Have you seen this, Steve?
No.
Penis gate?
No, and I wasn't sure. I was about to lead it to you when I saw you type it up, and I wasn't sure if that's how it was pronounced. So I'm glad you said it and not me.
So apparently, a couple of long jump skiers a while back got suspended because they were injecting their you-know-what to make it big.
How does
and
that
the reason
help you?
was the suits a little bit wider in the crotch area make the descent a little bit longer. So they've been suspended for expanding their genitals to try and get an edge in the skiing long jump competition. And the athletes have been warned, you can't do this. So I asked you, Steve, how do you check this?
Well, first thing that came to mind is Frank Thomas would say, and she'll like it too. That was the first thing that came to mind for me. If anybody knows, I'm sure anybody who watches sports has seen that ad 1,000 times with Doug Flutie. Saw a photo of Doug Flutie, by the way, on Twitter yesterday with somebody, and he was looking old. I did not recognize him at first, but that's crazy to me, Andy, because the first thought would be you would be less aerodynamic. So when you said that, I'm thinking, how is this helping you? But it's on the descent.
It's on the descent. It makes you fly just a little bit.
Well, I will say this is always
longer.
Why I wasn't a ski jumper, although I should have been. No. All these years, I thought it was going to be a detriment. I was hoping it was going to be an Eddie. I was hoping it was going to be an Eddie the Eagle story, because when I think of ski jumping, I think of the 88 Olympics. And by the way, anybody who's under 40 doesn't know Eddie the Eagle, Google him. Man, what a great story that was. I forgot the Olympics had started because someone told me the opening ceremonies were Friday. I heard this yesterday. And then a friend of mine said, oh, no, curling started like at 4:30 this morning. So I need to get on the ball. I never get interested until I turn on an event, and then I'm addicted for like 2 weeks straight. I watch nothing but Olympics. It's like that every year for me in the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to watch ski jump. I'm definitely watching ski jumping, by the way. I like ski jumping, but now I'm like really intrigued if they're going to be are they going to be talking about that, do you think, on the announcing?
I don't know, but I guess if I'm a long jumper and a coach comes to me and tells me this, I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'll just practice a little bit more. I'll pass on.
I'll tell you what, from a marketing standpoint, NBC is going to get a lot more female viewers on ski jumping now. This was a brilliant story to release. Even if it's fake news, it's a brilliant story to release. Watch the ski jumping for the penis scandal. What? Honey, can we turn on ski jumping tonight?
Right.
The hell you watching ski jumping for?
Oh, all right. Well, let's bring in Marco. I don't know.
You wanted to transition there. And you thought better. You were about to say something, and you caught yourself. I know it. Trying.
Owner of the company, Marco. How are you?
The Super Bowl food of the week, sausage. Marco, great to have you on the show.
Yeah. All I know is no pain, no gain.
There we go. Take it for the team.
Yeah, that definitely was not an intro that I thought I would be segueing from.
So, Marco, we're going to get to your sauce of the week. I guess you're going that route, unless you're going to get a little twisted on us here for Super Bowl. I'll leave it up to you. But I'm looking forward to that because I do want to get your. I mean, you're a food guy, so I can't wait to hear your favorite Super Bowl food. But think about this as well as you're doing the games. What's your least favorite? Because I want to get that one also. But we'll start a little college hoops. Probably the best game on the board. And Joe Ranieri, by the way, touched on this game, the best betting show ever. That'll be up Friday afternoon. And we have a deep dive once again with Arthur DeCesar. Tons of inside information from the Westgate on the Super Bowl side of things. But this is the best game of the night in college hoops, Marco. UConn and St. John's. What are you doing with this one?
Well, obviously, you take a look at UConn, and they've won 18 straight, while St. John's has put together an 8-game winning streak. But Connecticut, the last 2 games, back-to-back blowout wins over Creighton and Xavier. But prior to that, UConn, even though they've been rolling, you're paying a price when you're betting UConn, and they had lost the 7 in a row to the spread before those last 2 blowouts. St. John's, this is a team, they play a little bit of defense. They've held 3 of their last 4 opponents to 70 or fewer points. And I say this a lot when we do these Friday night games. I'm always on Friday, and we pick the marquee game on the Friday night schedule. If this game was tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be looking at the game. But because it is on Friday night and it is there's other games, but let's be honest, this is the standalone game. Fox, this is what everybody's going to be watching tonight. It does intrigue me. And I've always said, we talk about it in football as well. These Thursday night games, Friday night games in football, in basketball, it's the Friday night game, the TV game. It's a different situation. It's a different atmosphere for the home team in the way that the crowd reacts. And I think St. John's has a very good chance to pull the upset tonight in this one. You look at St. John's, they're 17-5 for the season. And you look at UConn at 22-1. It's a situation where obviously you would want to gravitate to UConn when you're looking at a number that's basically pick the winner. But I look at that 17-5 record of St. John's, and you go back, 4 of those losses happened before Christmas. And who were those losses to? How about Arizona, Iowa State, Auburn, and Kentucky? That's a pretty good lineup of early season matchups. And what that does for a team, when you play a tough schedule like that, we talk about it all the time with Michigan State and Tom Izzo. You schedule tough games in November and December, that's going to pay dividends in February and March. And that's what I'm banking on here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the points with St. John's, call it a mild upset. I know anytime you upset UConn, it's not mild, but I think this St. John's team is a lot better than people think. And I think we're going to see it tonight on the national stage. Give me St. John's plus the points.
Yeah, Marco, I love what they're doing with these Friday night games. We had Michigan State last Friday night on Fox, which was a top 10 national matchup. Why not, right? Remember back in the day when we'd get 4 Ivy League games, and that was all we had back in the 90s and early 2000s? It's like, and then we'd have 150 Saturday games. So love what they're doing with these spotlight college basketball games. This is a good one tonight. Marco likes that home dog there, and it should be a good game throughout. All right, let's talk a little Super Bowl with you. You know, I keep promoting the best betting show ever, but it really was a great episode with Arthur DeCesar, all that insight. And we touched on this as well about Super Bowl MVP. And I brought up the old correlation between if you like, a side, it's obviously only once in the history of the Super Bowl, I believe, is Super Bowl V that we had the losing team get the MVP. But it's almost always the quarterback. I think it was 8 of the last 11. When it hasn't been recently, by the way, it's been pretty much a wide receiver, which is crazy to me that receivers win as much as they do because you got to figure the quarterbacks are throwing all those touchdown passes. But normally, if you get the side right, you're going to probably get the quarterback from that team as the MVP. How are you approaching the MVP market? Do you agree with that sentiment, or do you have a different twist on it?
Oh, no, that's absolutely the way I look at it. And to me, in the actual numbers, quarterbacks have won 12 of the last 16 Super Bowl MVPs. And to me, I use it as a different way to bet the team that you like if they're the favorite. If you don't want to lay the 4.5 points with Seattle and you don't want to lay the money line, which is anywhere from here in Vegas from -220 to -240, there's a different way to approach it. You can put some money on the MVP, and that MVP would be Sam Darnold. And you're right. The next most likely guy would be JSN for Seattle, but somebody's got to throw him the football. And the reason why I think Sam Darnold has the upper hand in that, not only because of history, but I think you also saw it last night with the MVP for the season. Granted, if we carried the MVP vote for the full season into the playoffs, Matthew Stafford definitely performed better in the playoffs than Drake May did. But during the regular season, everybody thought Drake May was the favorite to win the MVP just because of what he did and what he meant to the New England Patriots. But because it's a vote, sometimes there's a little bit of a sentiment there with it. And Matthew Stafford being a longtime player and everything, sometimes you get the sympathy vote. If it's a coin toss, you're going to go to a guy with a good story, and Matthew Stafford is that. Here for the Super Bowl, where's the good story? The story is Sam Darnold. This is a guy that's played for 5 different teams in the last 5 years. That's pretty huge. And he's silenced the critics. He's the winningest quarterback in the NFL over the last 2 seasons. I think he's at 30-7 right now. But the only thing people remembered were those last 2 games from last year, because he lost that game to the Lions on the regular season finale, which was for first place in the division and home field. Then they got toasted in the playoff game against the Rams. So everybody, well, that's the Sam Darnold we all know and love. That was the New York Jets Sam Darnold. He saw the ghost again. And then he lost the first game, the first meeting this year against the Rams. They lost by 2 when he threw 4 interceptions. And again, he got that stigma placed on him. He can't win the big game. But what he's done in the playoffs, in the last game of the regular season, has exercised all of those demons. And now it becomes a great story. And I think that if Seattle wins the game, Sam Darnold is your MVP, and you're getting plus money with him, plus 120. That's the way to go if you don't want to lay the points or the money line. So go ahead and take Sam Darnold, MVP. That's a play. It's actually a client play I did give out as a 1.5 unit play for my clients.
Yeah, Marco, that's a bigger split than we normally see between the game money line and the quarterback. I think last year, the Chiefs and Mahomes, it was like minus 130 even. I mean, it was almost identical. And obviously that didn't work out, but that's just the thought process there, is that normally it's very correlated. So to get that kind of a plus money price instead of having to lay the money or lay the 4.5, if you do like the Seahawks, I agree with you. I think that's a good way to go. I'm looking back at the history of it. We talk about the 2 wide receivers winning it. We've had 5 quarterbacks and 2 wide receivers the last 7 years, which is crazy to me because, once again, they've got to be catching that ball from someone. It was Cooper Kupp, ironically, who was in the game. Matthew Stafford did not get it in that game, which surprised me. But the other one was Edelman, which was the last Patriot game with Brady. And that one made so much sense, going back to what you said, because they just didn't want to give it to Brady anymore. I think they were looking to give it to somebody else. So that will not be the situation with Sam Darnold, who's definitely a feel-good story after being if I recall correctly, was he the number 3 pick overall when the Jets took him? He was up there. And
he was up there because I remember the year before the chant in Vegas was "suck for Sam," when they were tanking. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was good in Minnesota, and now he's good in Seattle. It just shows being on a bad team how it can ruin what you look like as a quarterback in the NFL. Marco, before we get you out of here, any other props and also sauce of the week, Super Bowl? How are you approaching it this week for us?
Yeah, guys, I've got one other prop I like for you. I'll share with you, and that's total interceptions over 1.5. And you could play this if you didn't want to play the over 1.5 and you just want to take one QB and take the over 0.5. I would lean to Drake May, but I think you're going to get an interception, at least one from both QBs, because of the defenses that we do have here. These are elite defenses. We've talked about Seattle's defense all year. New England, they've put up great numbers as well. We've kind of put an asterisk to anything that we say with New England and it's been beaten to death because of the strength of their schedule. But again, you can only play who's in front of you, and they've done a great job against everybody that they have faced. But I think over 1.5 interceptions in this game is something that's going to happen, and you can get that around town at minus 120. And you look at that, Drake May's had interceptions in 2 of his 3 playoff games. The only game that he did not have the interception was the Denver game, where it was the weather. And once they got the 10-7 lead, I think they felt they had enough points that they were sitting on the football the rest of the game, not taking any chances. And during the regular season, he did throw an interception in 8 of his last 13 games, and Sam Darnold an interception in 7 of his last 13. So I think that's a prop that you could easily get the over on that one. I know Andy likes to look at those interception props. Yeah. You agree or disagree, Andy, on that one?
I have not had a good read on interceptions on these guys. I think everyone's waiting for Darnold to make the big mistake or have the bad game. It just hasn't happened. Drake May, a young quarterback, finally facing a good defense, but he really doesn't make too many mistakes. If I had to pick one quarterback, it would be Drake May, just because of the offensive line issues and I could see him getting pressure and throwing a bad one. But I expect a heavy running attack from both teams. So I would lean under interceptions, but I'm not playing it with my own money.
Yeah, I mean, big games, as I say, in general, one thing about championship games, whether it's college football, or the Super Bowl, and we're not in the blowout era anymore when we saw a ton of turnovers, kick returns, interception returns in the 80s and 90s. It's a different era now, but you do usually see mistakes, and they usually come from one side more than the other. But yeah, I would say, two good quarterbacks, one each, is not asking a lot in a big game, because it doesn't seem to happen more times than not. Marco, you're not doing the sauce, but I think you're going to do a Super Bowl food. Am I right? What are we doing with this?
Yeah, we'll save. We'll do the last sauce next week, where I rip somebody in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
with my rant, but it's Super Bowl. Everybody has food, and what are your favorite foods? Now, obviously, we'll put the disclaimer in there. Chicken wings are, football and chicken wings they go together. But if you have a lot of people at your house, if you're entertaining a party, wings are a little bit of a pain in the butt to make for a large group. You can only put so many in at a time and so forth. So you want to be able to feed the masses and have those. And, for me, my menu this Super Bowl, and you want to do something where if you got to be doing the cooking, you don't want to be missing the game either. So my big start with appetizers, which you can prep early. You guys had already mentioned it earlier. Buffalo chicken dip is a great appetizer.
Boom.
That's the way to go. So that's where we get that little bit of the chicken wing flavor in an easier form with a buffalo chicken wing. But the halftime spread, Chef Marco will be manning the Blackstone. Ooh. And we will be having our halftime taco buffet. And I will be grilling up chicken, carne asada, and shrimp tacos on the Blackstone.
Damn.
And then what we can do for feed a lot of people with minimal work, because you fix it, you prep it, and you put it, in low and slow, baby back ribs.
Ooh.
So that is the Marco menu for Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Damn. I like that.
Wow.
Andy. When he said slow and low, it makes me think of chili. Chili's a good one on the East Coast. You can feed a lot of people with like a pot of something. So I like that as well. Wow. Yeah. You're going to miss Bad Bunny. Marco's going to miss Bad Bunny.
That's also another reason.
First thing I thought is he said halftime, like he's going to miss the halftime show. And that's like, what's Bad Bunny? We know Marco's seen so much Bad Bunny over the years that he can miss one performance. It won't hurt him.
Wow. Incredible. Baby back ribs, tacos. But
he's the carne asada got me going, because I look at Marco, I think Mexican food, so that got me going. But then when I heard the grilled shrimp, I'm like, my goodness, it's going overboard here.
Got to have choices. Life's all about choices.
It is too many choices. Most food overload.
Great stuff, Marco.
Well, if you guys can get to town, you got a chance. If you land in town, give me a buzz. We got plenty of food.
I'm redeeming points right now. Coming out.
Andy, we can watch the game at the Westgate and look over the horizon and see the smoke coming from Marco's residence.
Seriously.
From the grill.
Wow.
Marco, what else you got going on? I know you did a bet on it, BOI. And you got your deli video coming up for this week, and I always love seeing that as well. That's one of the greatest graphics. We got some good graphics now, but that one also makes me hungry. Whenever I'm going to comment on my videos, I see Marco with the damn hot dog stand. It makes me hungry.
Marco's Deli's taken on a life of its own. The response to it's been incredible. And the basketball, it makes it a little tough. And sure. Steve, when we're doing these videos and you're trying to do them the day before and so forth,
exactly.
Get the stuff up. I'll be doing that in the next hour, and the lines aren't out yet for tomorrow's games. Okay. But because I use situational stuff, I can put my stuff together, give everybody what the situations are. And then what I do, I come back on late Friday night, Saturday morning, I'll put an update in the comment section on the YouTube channel and say, hey, this is what the official line is. This is a play. And the last week, for the first time, we took a play off the board that I gave on Friday, because the line did come out higher than I expected it to do. And I said, this is officially a no play. And I gave them a replacement play on the video. So the play that we canceled won as well, even though it was at a higher number, still won. And then the play that we put in and replaced it with won as well.
Oh, good.
But we only counted what we called official. So we hit 4 out of 5 on last week's Delhi. And if you played the earlier game and weren't able to cancel that bet, well, you went 5-1 last week. So the Delhi's been doing great. That'll be out early afternoon today here, Vegas time. So check that out and be sure to check back in the morning to see if there's any changes on the lines. And you guys have beat to death all of the specials that we got going at WagerTalk. And yeah, Weekend Warrior, get everything. College basketball, NBA, hockey, Super Bowl. If you only want the Super Bowl, I do have a $29 package up. It'll get you all of my plays for the Super Bowl, including props. Last year, the package consisted of 4 plays. We won all 4 of them. That's, you know me, I go quality, not quantity. But we'll probably have, I would guess this year, somewhere between 4 and 7 plays total for the Super Bowl when it's all said and done. And we'll add plays right through Sunday. So once you buy it, you'll keep getting any updates as plays are added.
Love it. It's good stuff. You know, Andy, the one special we failed to mention that's up there as well is how about getting Friday and Saturday for free? Because the Super Bowl 1 year special, if you're ready to take that serious investment approach, is available, and you don't have to wait till Sunday. If you're going to do a 1 year, now's the time to do it. It's like an instant $800 discount, and you're getting Friday and Saturday free. You know, we talk about the 10 days for $99. This is every month for $99, plus the next couple of days free. That also is on Marco's page, Andy's page, my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Go get that as well.
All right, good stuff, Marco. Thanks.
Good luck, guys.
Have a great weekend.
See you, Marco.
Enjoy that food. Yeah, Marco put us to shame.
Yeah, it's like I got so hungry during this show that I'm no longer hungry. Does that make sense? Your stomach just stops growling after a while. And I know we went long today for all the viewers because it's Super Bowl Friday, right? If there's a show to go long on, it was this one. But you got your around the world, I hear, all around the world. What you got for that?
Free plays. Let's do some free plays in the week here. I'm going to Knuckle Mania to get us started. If you have bare knuckle fighting championship lines, Ben Rothwell over Andrei Arlovsky, the money line's minus 200. This should be minus 400. Ben Rothwell takes bare knuckle serious. He's 4-0. All 4 wins by finish, 3 of them in the first round. Andrei Arlovsky his story's kind of tragic. He's going around and taking these random fights just for paychecks because he lost all of his money. He is in here not because of passion, but because of desperation for money. You're taking Ben Rothwell. He wants a title shot. Super Bowl cross sport here, Steve. I'll get your thoughts after this. Mac Hollins, more receiving yards than Kawhi Leonard points versus the Timberwolves on February 8th. Mac Hollins has 41 yards receiving in 3 straight games, and one of those was the snow game in Denver. He's trusted, he's healthy, and Kawhi, I'm just not sure the motivation is going to be there. I think Kawhi would have to put up 40 to get this one, so I'll take Mac Hollins to have more receiving yards. And then tonight, the Blazers and the Grizzlies, Donovan Clingan over 12.5 rebounds. Steve, have you seen who's starting for the Grizzlies tonight at center? I looked it up. Donovan Clingan is 6 inches taller. And he's 5 inches taller than the power forward. Sabonis just had 15 rebounds against the Grizzlies last game in 24 minutes. So I think Clingan's going to grab every single rebound in this one. So I'll happily take the 12.5 rebounds. But before we go, real quick, what do you think about Mac Hollins versus Kawhi Leonard points?
Well, I'll chime in on all of these. First of all, the rebound prop. I love a 5 to 6 inch edge as a center versus center when I'm coaching basketball. So yeah, I like where you're going with that. Plus, I think the Grizzlies will be chucking up some shots. Joe Ranieri talked about this on Best Betting for the last 2 days. Shocking, nobody wanted Ja Morant. I mean, I'm actually shocked that Cleveland took Harden. I think that's a mistake. I mean, it's part 2 right there. It's where has that not worked out well, right, for all the other teams? Yeah, you touched on this earlier when I gave you the Kings. I mean, Kawhi, what's his motivation? And the other thing I'll point out about those cross-sport props, Andy, as you know, is like you have some time to hedge with the Super Bowl, being afterwards, because you can see the result beforehand. You'll know if you have a huge advantage play, or maybe if you're not feeling great about it, if you want to hedge out and try to middle it by a few, yards if it's close or something. So it gives you some wiggle room. And then when I saw the rundown, I thought Ben Rothwell was Ben Roethlisberger, and I got really excited because I thought he needed money and he was in bare knuckle fighting. But I just love everything you said there. First of all, he takes it serious. I would hope you take bare knuckle fighting seriously because you're in some trouble if you don't. But you touched on this so much when we used to do shows together with the UFC. You know, you get guys that want to be there, and you get guys that are there because of need. And man, first of all, you don't get better as you get older, and like you don't get stronger and faster. And it's just one of those things that you got to be on your game when you're in any kind of combat sport. What's the price on that, by the way? I mean, I'm sure that's juiced, but
it's minus 200. I don't care.
Wow.
Bet it. It opened up at like minus 170, and it's
but that's not bad. That
good.
sounds like it should be minus 400, minus 1,000. I mean, you got a complete mismatch. That sounds like. But I love the motivational angle. You know, you go back to your golf angle when guys had a baby. You know, the wife's had a baby, and you know they're distracted. I love, and that's why Marco's done so well for decades. He's a great situational handicapper, and you and I do that as well. It's just a great way to I love any kind of things that have like an angle like that. I think that made a lot of sense. All of them.
We're fading a golfer this week who just had a baby in the offseason, actually.
Yeah, once again, we're clarifying the golfer did not have the baby, because that's a great LGPA fade, is to fade the pregnant golfer, like when she's got a belly sticking out here and trying to swing. But we don't get those angles too much anymore due to everything being televised.
Hard to get those angles.
It's hard to get those angles.
All right, guys. Thanks very much for watching, chat. You guys killed it. Great week of Super Bowl shows. And guys, make sure you're responsible with your bets. This is my annual warning.
Yeah, exactly.
It is so easy to pull out your phone during the Super Bowl and fire off a bunch of live bets when you're at a party or whatever. Just be careful with your bankroll. It's one game. We want to come back with our bankrolls a little bit bigger on Monday, not a bunch of live bets that we regret. So be careful if you're live betting the Super Bowl. It's really, really easy to get out of control on that one. So, Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you leave a comment after the show if you agree with Teddy or if you agree with Andy, and also include your WagerTalk username so we can apply it to your account first thing in the morning. Thank you so much, guys. Good luck on all your bets this weekend. We'll see everyone Monday. Take care.